So, going back to a slightly older style of videoing, just because this is how this week has gone. This week has been hard in a different way to last week, because last week was busy and tiring and just left no room for anything else, basically. So as I showed you in the beginning of this video, this week is largely about resetting, tidying up the house, kind of coming back into rhythm with life. The children went back to school, so some stability and routine should return now. And also, just like a small win before I get into like the meat of the video, we made it through the summer holidays. We did it. I started this challenge, this experiment, this journey right at the beginning of the summer holidays without really thinking that through, and we made it. And it wasn't awful. It actually felt doable. I mean, I didn't miss a week. There are reasons why that happened, and most of all, it's down to John, who has been amazing, and I'm really appreciative of him at the moment, because without him, this is a heck of a lot harder, like it is right now because he's not here. This week has been hard in a different way to the week before, because this week has held a lot of like emotional stuff. Grief is the only word I can really think of to describe this week. So, number one, my dad turned 70 earlier in the week. That's an amazing thing to celebrate, somebody getting to the age of 70. But in recent years, my dad's health has deteriorated significantly, and it's really hard to watch. He's my dad. We don't have a perfect relationship, and he's not perfect, and he's made mistakes, but he is my dad. He's also possibly a little look into my future if I don't take care of myself. I'm hoping that I'm doing all the things that I can do in order to prevent this muscular dystrophy that we both have, that's degenerative, that it won't really progress too aggressively for me, and that I'll have a good long life with minimal symptoms. But it's not guaranteed, and sometimes that's really confronting. But at the moment, I feel really positive about my prognosis. Symptoms in the last decade have really not progressed at all, and I'm feeling pretty good. But, you know, he is a reminder. Happy 70th birthday, Dad. And here's to as many more as we can fit in. And the other thing that has made me quite emotional this week is I got to see the results of my x-ray, and I also got the radiology report. I got it on Monday evening, but I didn't look at it, and then I tried to look at it on Tuesday, and Tuesday was too busy, and all I did was read the radiology report, and then I also put it into ChatGPT, which was really helpful because ChatGPT was able to put it into sort of simpler terms for me. And although I wanted to look at the x-ray image, I actually wasn't able to. It's a software thing, it's a long story, but I actually got around to it today, and I actually think having that break between looking at the radiology report and looking at the image today was good, because I don't think I was ready for it before today. I was kind of expecting this like horribly mangled, destroyed hip, and it's definitely changed, and it's visible. Having looked at it with all my research and that I've been doing this week, I think I'm looking at somewhere between grade 2 and grade 3 arthritis. I haven't actually had the opportunity to discuss these results with anyone who is a professional. So everything that I've extracted from this report has been done through my own research. I saw the image today, and it didn't look as bad as I expected it to, but it's not going to get any better. And so I've basically been grieving the loss of my healthy hips. I have been feeling a little bit nervous about what this means for my future and my mobility, and will it get better, or can I alleviate symptoms enough that quality of life feels good for as long as possible, or am I going to face a sort of steady decline into disability in the not too distant future? There's a lot of unknowns, there's a lot of uncertainty. This is not the first time I've had a diagnosis where there's no cure and it's degenerative. So this is, you know, in my wheelhouse. But yeah, so there's been a lot to process. There's been a lot of ups and downs, and that will come and go because that's how this works. So tomorrow I have a doctor's appointment to discuss, I don't know, what the next steps might be. The good news is that when it comes to osteoarthritis, which is what I've got, exercise and education and lifestyle factors are basically the first things that we can look at to combat the degeneration. And like, surgery is the last thing to consider. So I was supposed to have an osteopath appointment today because I feel like my alignment is kind of out, and I feel like if I had better alignment, at least in the short term, that would be better for my joints and less pressure. But unfortunately, I had work. I had a fitting today for a shoot that I'm doing soon, and I had communicated that I needed to be back at a certain time to make this appointment, but it seems like that was lost in translation or not translated at all, and so I had to cancel my appointment because this fitting took a lot more time. They were running late when I got there and I had to wait, but I won't be able to go next week because I'm busy and working, and next week will probably feel a lot like it did last week. No time for anything, but we carry on. And so yeah, physical health has been a bit of a today. This week has just been kind of like, oh yeah, keeping it real. But let's just do a quick home improvement because I did do something with my hard-earned money, with my hard-earned money. With my hard-earned money, I did invest a little bit, just a little bit, in this plant right here. It's a dragon plant, and I wanted from the very beginning, I wanted more plants in this room. So that's a little 1% closer to having more plants in this room, and also it adds a little bit of visual drama and just a little bit of spice to the living room, which I like. And maybe I'll put twinkly lights in it at Christmas or something. But I was glad that I squeezed that in with my mom and Fox in the week. That was nice to just like do that because, you know, this week's been heavy. Anyway, I totally did not end up using week 5 as a review. That just like never happened. I'm now cross-posting on Instagram, which is scary, but also good because when things are outside of your comfort zone, that's where you grow. So on to week 8 next week. Stay tuned. How has your week gone? Has it been a good week, a bad week, an ugly week? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe and like. Any engagement is good engagement and it gets me closer to my goals. So thank you so much, and I will see you next week.